Hello and welcome to episode number 106 of the Perth to Paisley podcast. It's been an exciting weekend, controversial weekend. So, of course, we're here to speak about it. I, as ever, am Daniel McIver, joined by my co-host, Adam Kennedy. Adam, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks, mate. I think there'll be a fair amount of folk that'll be preparing for me ranting, raving about matters on the park.
I wonder what that is.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm actually feeling somewhat encouraged. I think off the park they'll have me ranting and raving. Given the weekend, given what you've alluded to with the controversy or controversy, as it were. But pleasantly pleased with the performance, even if the result didn't match. How are you?
I'm doing good. Doing very good. Yeah, I kind of feel the same about you the weekend. It was going in with such low expectations to then have that happen. You actually have to be like, oh, well, no one's happy with it, but it's more encouraging, as you say.
It's just hearts, isn't it? They're just such a bunch of teasies, man.
Basically. Now, obviously, this weekend was a bit different.
To say the least.
As it was a historic one for Scottish football, at least in the top flight, as it was the first weekend of the rest of our lives, as VAR was in place for the first time. We spoke about this 3 episodes ago, was it? When you were surprised at the news that it was coming in before the World Cup. You just had no idea what was going on. And I just think it sums up the current circumstances of you, the club, and Scottish football generally, where you were midway through a rant about VAR and were wrong about the entire premise of it.
Hold on a second. Scottish football, like Scotland is the only football nation that could decide we're going to catch up with everybody else, get VAR, but we'll introduce it, 10 games into a season.
Game week 12.
Game week 12. Like, what significance is game week 12 in any other season?
I think it was because they were going
just the fact that you've played everybody else once.
I think it was like, we're going to put it in after the World Cup, but then actually it ended up getting sorted way quicker than expected. So it was like, okay, just do it then after the first round of games.
Yeah, my own theory is total nonsense because we've not played St Mirren in a league game so far this season.
So, true, but we would have done.
Yeah, but for unforeseen circumstances.
Yeah.
But game week 12 is supposedly the elite and exactly when you should introduce VAR. Because why wait till the end of a 38-game season?
It has been a pretty elite weekend for VAR.
Now I'm spewing that we didn't get it back in August.
Exactly. Huge fans. So the historic first game started off basically the perfect way for Hearts fans, as on Friday night St Johnstone defeated Hibernian at Easter Road 2-1, and then we'll just get all the around the ground stuff out of the way just now, and then we'll speak about everything. Obviously our game was the early kickoff, which this episode will be touching on, and then the 3 o'clock kickoffs on the Saturday. Kilmarnock beat Ross County 1-0. Aberdeen continued their rich vein of form as they beat Motherwell 2-1. Rangers under Giovanni Van Bronckhorst continued this weird situation where no one really knows what's going on, as they took it required a red card for Livingston and a late equaliser for them to get a point at home to Livingston. And then finally St Mirren again, who are in really good run of form currently, beat Dundee United 2-1 at home. What was your overall thoughts on the first weekend of Scottish football VAR, not including our game?
Excluding our game, I have to say thank you very much to St Johnstone Football Club. Provided some great Friday night entertainment. And, it's testament to Kyle McGuinness that Hibernian have what must be their first home sellout that's not an Edinburgh derby, ruined by that man upon his return from injury. You've got to respect the hustle.
What is he doing? Genuinely, a genuine question. That sounds like a Hearts fan being funny. Genuinely, I don't understand, because it's Jamie Murphy, that has the ball for St Johnstone.
So, yeah.
He's turning to play it back to his own centre halves, as St Johnstone have been horrific up until that point. Why is he still in the park? He's not played like a year.
Genuinely didn't even look anywhere near scope. Like Hibs battered them first half, absolutely battered them, which makes it all the more pleasing. The Saturday fixtures were stinky after we were done. This league, honest God, like it's that bad. It's great. It's like dad jokes. The worse the joke, the funnier it actually is. I mean, Kelly squeezed past Ross County. I'm not going to say too much about Ross County because we all know that there's a match at the weekend. I'll pick my words carefully because they'll absolutely no doubt pick up a morale boosting 3 points on Sunday. Aberdeen actually called spot on. I know that Motherwell's record is really good against Aberdeen generally, as is Kevin Van Veen's scoring record. However, was not surprised to see the Dons beat Motherwell at Fir Park. I actually think Aberdeen are as good as nailed on for a top 4 finish. Really, I think they'll run us closest, provided that we, of course, get back up there. Motherwell, I can't work out whatsoever. It really annoys me. I just think just a mid-table finish beckons because they're just so hot and cold. It's untrue. Really felt for Livingston actually at the weekend, and that god Davy Martindale. They've never won at Ibrox. That I couldn't believe that stat. 20 attempts, I think they said, and minutes away from doing so. That must absolutely kill the fans, the players, and Martindale himself. I was talking to a couple of my work pals about Giovanni van Bronckhorst, because, as you can imagine, working in Ayrshire, why would you support Ayr United when Rangers are a 40-minute drive up the road? And I sort of put out the wild notion, I don't know where I got the confidence about Hearts from on Friday, where I said, should Hearts beat Celtic at Tynecastle and Rangers beat Livingston, Rangers would go top of the league. They'd be through to the semi-finals of the League Cup. I know the Champions League stuff isn't great, but why all the discontent? And it's, supposedly about performances on the park. And then they obviously churn out that weekend performance, and I can totally see where the fans are coming from because they were absolutely a-blinking. And finally, Paisley's proven a difficult place to go. Just as we, start to find a winning touch in Paisley, all of a sudden St Mirren turn really good. And I'm really concerned about heading there. So, I fancied a draw, but obviously St Mirren just grinded out the win with a late goal. I think another late goal at 83 minutes or something like that. So
it's something like that. I'll check for you right now. It was around then. In
terms of the cinch, a pretty stinky weekend.
83 exactly.
There you go. I know my stuff. That was saved by VAR and all the chaos that came with it. So great.
Well, speaking about all the chaos and VAR, we turn to our game at the weekend, the 12:30 kickoff. Hearts versus Celtic, a game that I think the majority of Hearts fans were going in, considering our defensive injury woes, considering our recent run of form, and considering the fact that Celtic seemed to be, again, as you say, much like Rangers, out with the Champions League. Celtic just seemed to be on a roll.
Goals in 2 domestic games or whatever it is.
And just were coming off the back of a 6-1 battering of Hibs. I think every Hearts fan expected it to be a cricket score, an absolute battering, and it definitely did not pan out like that at all. However, we will, of course, start off with the lineup. So I view this as a 4-1-4-1. I think this is the formation. So Hearts lined up with Gordon in goals, what I view as a back 4 of Cochrane, Kingsley, Civic and Smith.
That we're agreed on.
Then Devlin sitting in front of that defence. Then a front 4 of Mackay, Ginnelly, and then the 2 in the middle, Snodgrass and Keogh, in behind Humphreys. That could also be called a 4-3-3 as well, like with the 2 sitting in Devlin a wee bit deeper. But the main talking point was no Shankland. And generally, Hearts fans seemed quite happy with the lineup.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment. I think it seemed surprisingly attacking. I think there would have been a temptation to sort of stick with the 3/5 at the back, however you want to view it. I was surprised to see Lawrence Shankland dropped somewhat, but then I remembered it wasn't particularly great up at Pataudry. I think Ginnelly's pace against, I know Bernabei's been excellent for Celtic at left back, but up against Celtic, I think we don't have many players that are all that quick. So we need to try and just hope that Josh Ginnelly can get the better of Bernabei / Greg Taylor, whoever was playing at left back. Hope for a big performance from Barry Mackay. I probably wouldn't have been surprised to see Forrest and Ginnelly start on the flanks, but given Barry Mackay's recent woes, let's just say. But as for the rest of the team, I think it was pretty much as strong as we could have named, given, as you say, we had a whole host, and still do, of defensive injuries. And maybe it was just a case of Robbie thinking, we're just going to have to try and outscore them as best we can. Don't know.
And I think the game as a whole almost panned out like that. How that was kind of the tactic. It was a lot of pressing, a lot of pushing. A lot of that came from one person in particular who we'll speak about soon. But we actually ended up having the first chance of the game. In the 8th minute, Humphreys picks up the ball on the halfway line, plays it to Smith, who's ball's loose, but then it's won back by Devlin, which is a sentence I think I'll say 85 times in this podcast, who gives it back to Smith, crosses the ball into the box. It's met by Barry Mackay, who kind of just hits it in the direction of Joe Hart. But I did not expect that opening 10-minute start.
Oh, no. Very, very pleasantly surprised. Surprised with the start, not surprised with the team we finish.
That's
exactly how I viewed that. I think the thing for me with regards to this chance is, it's actually one of those rare occasions where our patience is for the better, because Michael Smith attempts to cross anyway, and Celtic clear with ease. You know, he doesn't panic. He needed that bit of movement from Josh Ginnelly ahead of him to arguably pull out the space. It's a poor touch from Humphreys, but a very tame effort from Mackay. I think that favours Laces, and he looks to kind of place it in the corner, gets it all wrong, and Joe Hart easily gathers.
Yeah, definitely. A minute later, Maeda has a chance that forced him in the box after Giakoumakis and Moy do quite well. However, it goes out for a goal kick.
Yeah, sorry. It goes out for a goal kick, but it's not a goal kick in a million years. This is the first example of shocking officiating. The ball smashes off Toby Civic, and the referee gives a corner. Now, for me,
gives
a goal kick, sorry.
Yeah.
I was looking for a contender. Bobby Madden has since fled for England, so I was thinking, who could step up to take his mantle as the worst referee in Scotland? And Nick Walsh's performance at the weekend confirmed to me that he is by far and away the worst official that the SFA have at their disposal. We'll come on to various other controversies.
Oh, we've got hundreds of them.
Referee decisions that could and couldn't have been, and all this other nonsense. But I was genuinely astonished. Toby Civic lays on the deck. You can see that he's been hit by the ball, and he still gives a goal kick. Unbelievable.
Well, luckily for Celtic, it didn't matter, because only a few minutes later they would open the scoring. However, the most frustrating thing is it comes from our chance. As
shock horror.
Keogh does incredibly well to press the Celtic backline and win the ball right on the edge of the Celtic box, plays it to Humphreys, who feeds it through to Snodgrass and puts it on a plate for him. Snodgrass then takes a touch, then he takes another touch, then he takes another touch, then tries to shoot when Joe Hart is basically cuddling him and has the ball already, which then allows Hart to just send it up to Hatate. Hatate then plays it inside in the box to Ralston. There's then Keogh slides in to, as you would do as a defensive player, you go, this will just hit me, and go out for a corner. Gordon simultaneously slides to try and claim it. There doesn't seem to be a lot of communication there from Gordon. And the perfect bounce up means that James Forrest just has to stand still and knock it forward a yard. And Celtic are ahead.
What a shit goal to concede, really. Aye. When you factor in everything, like you say, Robert Snodgrass should score.
Yes, definitely. It's a terrible miss.
I don't know whether his own touches force him to try and take it on with his right foot. I think he's opting to try and open up the body and slot it away with his left. But again, like you said, it was another big chance, and I was really encouraged by the way that we started. But when they punish you up the other end, that's when I start cursing, shouting, swearing.
You got a wee bit of flack on Twitter. I saw this at halftime for your description of the goal and who you were laying blame to.
Yes, because...
Would you like to expand on that?
Yeah. Do you know what? I maybe was a bit harsh.
I think you were a bit harsh.
Because I think, as you say, I had another look back at it, and I think there is a little bit of miscommunication in there from the skipper and Keogh, excuse me. But it's just it's so annoying, given that we were probably in the ascendancy. Yeah, we hadn't made our chances count, and it's just like James Forrest was in such a rich vein of form, right? If Celtic carved us open by 5 or 6 passes, and it's a ridiculous finish that Gordon has absolutely no chance with, I've got no problem. Sometimes you doff your cap to them, say, great goal. But it's so preventable. Like, it's so soft. Aaron, Moy, Rio Hatate, they all have so much time on the ball. Nobody really tracks runners. The ball's so clearable. It's Gordon's gathering. Again, Keogh Murtsoglu, I can't fault him if Gordon doesn't give him that shout. If Gordon gives him the shout, then
I don't think Gordon does. I don't think Gordon does at all.
But I don't think he does. And so he's got every right to try and slide and, prevent it. And it bounces up. Like James Forrest scoring a header. That cannot happen. That can't happen.
Well, the positive for me was that we didn't let our heads go down. We didn't just go, right, that's it. Floodgates open, come on. So in the 27th minute, we have a corner routine who it falls to Kingsley, who fires just past the post. Devlin wins the ball back twice, who gives it to Keogh, plays it to Humphreys, and Humphreys goes on a run. There's a moment where I think he should shoot, but he kind of gets caught. But then it opens up again for him because of how well he does with the run. However, it takes a deflection into his hand, into Joe Hart's hands, and that I was really happy with that. And now we'll speak about him because we'll get onto a thing that he does. I think this was arguably Devlin's best ever game for us.
It's certainly a contender. I think this season he's been great.
He's really up there. For me, it's between him and Cochrane for player of the season.
Can't disagree with that. And I think the Europe, it seems like the big games. I was going to say solely the European.
I'm saying I think it's games that we don't have a lot of the ball in, have to press, so the game's at a quicker pace. He benefits from that because of his energy.
Yeah, maybe. And he stands out because, again, he's probably the only one that has that sort of that battery life, if you will, where none of the other midfielders arguably do. It's either that or he's angling for a move, given the BT Sport cameras are out, the Sky Sports cameras are out. He's obviously trying to impress Angie's fellow compatriot, thinking, I wonder if I get in the World Cup squad, maybe he might take notice.
I'll get along the road, Ange.
Honestly, I would be sick to my stomach. But I wholeheartedly agree. I thought he was everywhere in that first half. Virtually covered every single blade of grass. And he was certainly at the heart of controversy, which he always loves, rightly or wrongly.
Well, the first bit of major controversy comes now, as Celtic think they go 2-0 up. They have a free kick on the Wheatfield side. It is crossed in. And now, I need to get this right, because I will say this, listeners, all my notes are from the Hearts TV highlight package. This was not in it. Yeah, this was not in it. So I'm having to remember the highlight I saw a few days ago. But if I'm correct, a Celtic player grabs Snodgrass's shirt and pulls it back slightly, then collides with Keogh ever so slightly. The ball, however, goes through all of them, Maeda's standing in an offside position, but Ralston runs from deep, hits a header.
Great header.
It's a great header, and you think it's 2-0, but Nick Walsh has blown before the move can continue, so VAR cannot get involved as the move had already stopped by that point.
And that's about it in terms of correct decisions for the day. Well done.
Listen.
Well, no, actually, he does get a second one right later on in this half.
I think he gets this wrong in terms of what he should do with VAR. I think the decision...
have a second look.
Yeah, the decision to give a foul, I think, is valid. There is a shirt pull. But now that VAR in, you have to let that play. You can't blow early because then VAR couldn't get involved.
Isn't it amazing? He should go to the screen and doesn't. And there's other times where he doesn't go to the screen.
But he can't go to the screen in that circumstance. He can't. Because VAR cannot get involved because he stopped the move. So he blew the whistle. Yeah, he blew. So our defence.
So why does he not let it play out? And
he's an idiot. Yeah,
sure, go back. Yeah,
exactly.
You're saying. Sorry.
That's what he should do, because then our defence. Because I've seen some people be like, well, but it's fine because the move carried on, so you can do it. But our defence could make the argument, we heard the whistle, so we just stopped. Like, that isn't what happened. But you can make the argument for it, which is why that has to happen. And our refs really need to learn that it's like, now if it's not like somebody just turns and punches someone in the face, and it's like, well, yeah, blow it then. But if it's like jostling in the box, shirt pulling, that thing that I always find so infuriating, that when a corner's about to be taken and the ref blows and goes to speak to people,
hate that as
right?
Well.
That now shouldn't exist in terms of the corner gets swung in, and as it's in the air, the ref blows the whistle. It should now be, you get a talking to, but then when the corner's in the air, the ref has to let it play, and then you can revisit it. I'm worried some of the refs don't do that.
I share the exact same concerns. I want to talk about that sort of the potential of that happening within another instance in this.
Yeah, that's
this
fair.
Very first half.
That's fair,
because I think you know what I'm alluding to here. So
yes.
we'll get on with it.
Before we get to the big talking point of the half, it's not a little thing. It's a very big thing in terms of it's probably the most influential moment of the match from our perspective. Funnily enough, is that Heart of Midlothian this season cannot get through a game without making an enforced substitution. As sadly, the player who's been our best player for the last few games, Stephen Humphreys, in the 39th minute, most worryingly of all, pulls up completely on his own with no one around him, has to be subbed off, and Lawrence Shankland comes on. We will obviously speak about Shankland in depth as the rest of the podcast, but I just hope he's fine. I just hope Humphreys is all right.
Undoubtedly, but you know what? I knew what would happen with regards to his replacement. I mean, that was obvious. I don't know why Robbie didn't chuck him in from the start.
Right.
No, I really do feel for the big fella, to be fair. I've sort of been angling for both he and Shankland to play up front.
Yeah.
So it's a shame that hasn't really transpired and probably won't for, I don't know, a week or two. We haven't really heard with regards to...
Yeah, he was out after the game. He came out onto the pitch in trainers and was walking totally fine with Devlin.
Yeah, and I saw him on the bench afterwards.
So you have to hope that's
or nothing like that. So yeah, but you'd have thought that the club would have come out
and said
something by now on Tuesday night. But
yeah,
if Banderson's done a piece or whatever with him, but
we'll see. Hopefully the lack of news is good news, because it's just he's fine.
Nice.
In the 41st minute, we have a free kick. Snodgrass swings it in. Keogh meets it, but it just goes past the post. And then VAR is in Scottish football because Snodgrass and Ginnelly have a little passage of play on the Wheatfield side. Snodgrass swings a ball in. Devlin, as he has done all game up until this point. What were you going to say there?
I was going to say, we've not even touched on Michael Smith either, have we?
Oh, no, we've not. No, that comes after this.
This
comes after this.
Yeah. Sorry.
I've got
I've
got that as a note, and you've confused me completely.
Sorry.
Shocking. Anyway, Devlin continues to do what he's done for the previous 40 minutes and is tenacious, pushes for it, goes
Everywhere.
for the ball, nicks it with his toe, and I'm up the back of R, and I can see he's been clattered by Cameron Carter-Vickers. You're banging line with it. You can see that he's been what?
I actually wasn't. I gave my ticket to Brad's boy.
Oh, look at you.
Brad's boy.
Look at you. You're nice.
Well,
you weren't even watching, and you knew that it could happen.
No, I was tuned in. I had a family do on the Saturday afternoon, so I was like, on you go, Zach. You take the ticket, wee man. You enjoy yourself. And I was therefore spewing when it came to the second half. As soon as we took the lead, I was like, oh no, what have I done? I'm going to miss this.
Unbelievably, Nick Walsh does not give a penalty. Keogh especially just runs up to him and almost looks as if like, is this a rule in Scotland that I'm not aware of, that you're just allowed to kick somebody because that's a foul? Devlin stays down, the ball keeps playing, boos are going round Tynecastle. Cochrane eventually clears it out of play, and that's when the finger goes to the ear. Stop, wait the now. Then on the big screens, VAR is in check, and eventually Nick Walsh is asked to go to the screen. He takes about 2 seconds. He looks at it and goes, I've messed up here, and gives a penalty. Now, as someone who was in the stadium, I've not had that level of excitement in years at Tynecastle. It was amazing. It was like, this is the greatest thing ever, even if we hadn't got it.
Where were you looking? Were you gaping up at the screen, just looking at the checking?
I was looking at everything. I was looking at the screen. I was looking at Walsh. When Walsh started to walk over, I was like, oh, this now could mean that. As the time went on, I was like, he's not going to give it. He's not going to give it. Then as soon as he went to the screen, it was like, oh, there's a chance here. Because obviously, we don't have replays. I'm just like, I think that was a stone waller. But when you see it back, you go, oh, well, maybe it was.
You best believe I was screaming.
It was. That's one of my favourite. That's going to be one of my favourite moments of the season. That moment when VAR first came into play was so exciting.
It was truly astonishing.
How was it for you not in the stadium, watching it at home?
Unbelievable. And not just the volume of the booing. I mean, how he can't spot that, given the position that he's in. Like, there's no real obstructed view. How he can't immediately blow for a penalty genuinely astounds me. Talking about the sort of lead up to that, incident. Josh Ginnelly is the most one-footed player I've ever seen. How I could see that he was continuously trying to shift onto his right, and Tony Ralston then forces him back. Like, it was so obvious what was going to happen, and it would be forced back. Lovely ball from Robert Snodgrass. But like, it's so obvious when Celtic try and clear that Devlin gets there first. And how Nick Walsh does not see that is
But remarkable. This is what I mean. Immediate. See, as soon as we were given the penalty, right? My brain went to Gudetti's dive. A decade ago now, right?
I was thinking of the ghost goal.
Yes, exactly, right? In a normal game, if this game happened 2 weeks ago, we don't get that penalty, that stonewall penalty. And I'm just so thankful that it's like, good. That, as you see when Nick Walsh goes over to the screen, he looks at it once and then he's like, oh yeah, I've messed up here.
But this is my annoyance and my sort of what if moment. What I want to know is, say Celtic go and score on the counter from the result of that challenge. Do the officials then look at that? Because I'm not 100% convinced that they do. I know that they have to, but that's what terrifies me.
They do. I think they would, because it was such a contentious point.
And it's in such a high-profile fixture. We've got a referee with a perfect view that can't see it. But I honestly thought, I just had a feeling that Celtic were going to go up and score, and then I thought chaos is going to erupt here. Chaos is going to erupt. It wouldn't have surprised me one bit if Celtic just go up, double their lead. And then I was thinking, what happens then? Honestly, it made me wonder for the rest of it. I thought, what happens? Like, there's enough refereeing conspiracies in Scotland anyway for Celtic to then go up and double the lead and it then be pulled back.
That's what should happen, though.
We're treading on thin ice to see the very least. That's what should happen.
But it's ridiculous that we are treading on thin ice. Like, that's the rules of the game. If they
got to see it firsthand. There's no need for him to go to the screen. He's got to see that.
It's crazy. Ironically, we've barely spoken about the goal because Lawrence Shankland does score from the spot. It's a really good penalty straight down the middle, and it's 1-1. This is not going to the script that we all expected.
No, could not believe it. My dad was quietly confident, which was something. He usually is to sort of wind his Hibs mates up in that, but he was adamant that we were going to take something. And now looking back, I was thinking maybe the big man was onto something. He is still wrong, but he was very nearly right, and he should have been right.
Yeah, minutes away. Now, all I'm thinking is, all right, okay, there's been 4 minutes added on. Just get to half-time at 1-1. Do not concede.
And tried our best
then,
to not take that advice on board.
Then, the next VAR controversy is immediately played.
Oh, my God.
I can't remember who hits it. I think it's James Forrest has the ball. And he shoots. It was somebody.
Somebody cutting in from the left.
Abada came on in the second half.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it was James Forrest. Yeah, sorry, because it was Forrest and Manda that started. Yeah, it must be Forrest there. I think you're right.
Forrest shoots from a few yards away from Michael Smith, who is standing in the box. And that's right in line with me. But the problem was, Keogh was standing in front of everything. So I can't really see. But all I could see was Smith's arm come flying backwards. And in my head, I'm like, there's only one reason that hand is suddenly shot backwards. The ball then ends up not being given as a penalty because Nick Walsh says no, goes out for a throw-in, and then the finger's back to the ear, the whole, and I'm thinking, right, this is a penalty. And to many's frustration, to many of a maroon and white persuasion in the ground delight, it is not given as a penalty. Now, you, again, on Twitter, made your thoughts on this very clear. You think that the decision not to give a penalty was correct.
Yes. But this is one that he probably should look at.
Yeah, he looked at the wrong one, basically.
How that works, I don't know. Because he's obviously missed a stone waller up the other end. And this is one that does have contention, but he thinks, no, absolutely not. 100% adamant, it's not a pen. Which, he reaches the right decision, right? But you can't gamble on that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And you know what? The thing that annoys me is, I see it with games down south all the time as well. Like, the ball to hand and these supposed handballs, it's only if it's deliberate or the hand is in an unnatural position.
You're out with the shadow.
That's the letters of the law, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's either if it's deliberate or if it's in an unnatural position. Where is Michael Smith supposed to put his arm? It's a perfectly natural position. If that's not a natural position, then defenders are going to have to start tucking their hands behind their back. They'll look as though they're doing some Highland fling. Like this can't continue. It does strike his hand, stroke arm, but it's not in an unnatural position. It's the correct call by the officials. It's not a spot kick. And remarkably, he doesn't even bother going over to check it, which, again, I totally get Celtics fans' frustrations, but he's somehow gambled and got it right, which is mental.
I think it's 50-50. I think some refs would give that.
Well, this is the thing.
And I'd understand.
It needs clarified across the board.
It does.
Needs to be on the same page here.
Yeah.
And we still aren't. It's as though we sort of meddle with the rules far too frequently that folk are struggling to then keep up what you can and can't do, where you can and can't put your hands and your arms and all this other nonsense. It's the same with offside. It's the same with goal line technology. Like everything always has to be changed. It's never left.
That also, though, isn't a fault of VAR. That's a fault.
No.
If people have issue with that, it's a fault with the rule. Like, get annoyed at the rule. Don't get annoyed at VAR correctly applying that rule.
And there is folk that want any contact with the hand or arm to be a penalty. I get their viewpoint, but By the current letter of the law, it's not a spot kick. Well done, the officials, even though you were guessing.
The first half ended with fireworks, and the second half started with a bonfire night level of fireworks, as immediately we go ahead, which is a sentence I did not think I'd be saying in this game. Josh Ginnelly,
a fast start. You've got to love it.
Josh Ginnelly does very well on the Wheatfield side to get past Bernabe. Fizzes it like it's weird. It's one of those balls that if Joe Hart just picks it up, or if a defender gets in the way of it, folk go, why have you put it that close to the keeper? Why have you put it that close to the defence? But because it doesn't, it's like the perfect ball across. Yeah. And all Shankland has to do is get some form of contact on it, which he does, taps it in, and we're winning 2-1.
I slated Josh Ginnelly for his one-footedness, so to speak, but it certainly paid dividends here. Yeah, I was roaring. Could not believe my eyes. This is honestly the type of goal that I've just envisioned Lawrence Shankland bagging countless times in a maroon shirt, doing what he does best. But it's a wicked delivery from Josh Ginnelly, which I didn't think he was capable of. So, do you know what? I'm the first to criticise a Hearts player, rightly or wrongly, but he had me eating humble pie, did Georgino. I thought he was excellent all day. I thought he gave Bernabe a torrid time, and it's probably why Greg Taylor came on in his place toward the latter stages. So, yeah, just want to see more of it, please, Josh. You've got some stuff in the locker. We just want to see it be brought out on more occasions.
Well, then in a 65-second spell, there was the two biggest misses of the day. The first one is certainly from the Celtic perspective. Aaron Moy, first of all, Rio Tati and Daisa Maeda do really well together to find Aaron Moy completely unmarked, middle of the box, 6 yards out, and I'm thinking, well, that's it. We had a fun 4 minutes where we were ahead.
It's like the cup final in 2019 all over again, Ryan Edger's goal.
Yeah. And somehow, not only does he miss badly, he doesn't even hit the target. He puts it wide. And then, as if to be like, don't worry, we've got one as well. We go up the other end, and Devlin, who has been, as I say, I think it's his best game for us ever, so tenacious, amazing. He is. Why do people shoot at Cammy Devlin? He should never shoot again. It's teed up from pretty perfectly, and it sclaps off his foot and goes into the Gorgie right up the back. They're two of the biggest misses you'll see from, like, I know that in the past couple of weeks, we've seen some horrific misses, right?
We certainly have on away days.
But the Aaron Moy one especially is right up there, considering the circumstances.
It's a shocker, and it's a really well-worked move. That's probably what kills Celtic most. They're absolutely brilliant. You obviously wouldn't have seen it on the telly at the time, but you've since seen it in the highlights.
The guy!
The cars to the boy, and he's just head in hands. I was like, I literally thought to myself, as much as it would be funny to take the piss, that has been me on countless occasions. So I was like, I feel your pain, mate. And then, as you say, 90 seconds later, I was doing exactly that. I honestly thought that, I thought the Moy miss was going to, I thought it was going to be our day. I really did. I'm just going to come out and say it. I thought it was going to be our day when you've got a miss of that magnitude. But for then us to do exactly that, like, had we gone 2 up, and we obviously don't know the answer now, would Celtic have come back from 2 goals down against us if we'd gone 3-1 up? I don't know. We'll never know.
Sadly, we'll never know, because 5 minutes later, we're not only drawn level, we're getting beat.
But hold on a second. The Devlin chance, the first thing you're told as a forward player is, get your head over the ball, keep it low.
Yeah, he's not a forward player, though.
No.
He's only
he's a professional footballer. The guy's 2 days older than me, and even I know. Get over it and just see what happens. But he's actually never going to score at Tynecastle, is he?
No, he's not. Unless,
I don't think it's going to happen.
Unless opposition like you do in a charity game, allow him to just score for a yard.
Like Gaza Ibrox that
yes,
time,
exactly. Yes.
Just let him wander through.
That's
he needs
the
a
only
Benny
way it's happening.
Beningame tackle within like the 6-yard box.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
just not going to happen.
But yeah, let's stop having fun because now
this was not fun.
No. Basically, you've all seen it. We can't defend a cross again.
And why, like, why would you not mark the Eredivisie's top scorer from a couple of seasons ago?
The golden
25
like
or 30
last season the top
or
goal
whatever
scorer.
it was. Yeah. Who only just got going in January. Oh, dearie me.
So that's
it's the fact that he's allowed a free run. Sorry, mate. On like it's a decent delivery. Don't get me wrong, but there's so much more that we can do defensively. Wonderful header. Not taking anything away from the header because it's right in the corner. Gordon has no chance whatsoever. But stop the run. Try block him off. It just it's too easy.
I'm glad you just said that there. Gordon couldn't do anything because in this next point. Gordon could do something because that goal is like stereotypical of us this season, right? It's a corner, floated in. If we don't have Halkett rolls, we just cannot win a header, apparently. That's the new rule.
To the Maida goal as well for Gordon.
3 minutes later, Aaron Moy hits I'll be polite and say speculative effort from the edge of the box, which is genuinely inexplicably not only just palmed by Gordon, palmed immediately in front of him.
And it's such an inviting area.
To the on-running Daisen Maeda, who puts it into the back of the net, and suddenly we're behind. Right. Hearts Twitter has been speaking about it, so I want to get your thoughts. Okay. This weekend at Dingwall, does Craig Gordon start in goals for you?
So you're adamant that he does start on Thursday night?
I think he does because I think it's a bit harsh to go to Xander Clark. Hi, see in this game that we're expected to win at home, go and just you get involved in Europe. Make your debut in the Conference League.
To keep our salvage our European campaign.
I think it's a wee bit. I can understand people saying no, do it in that game because we're at home in a game that we're expected to win. But well, then fine. Do you maybe think Clark should be coming in for the RFS game instead of the Ross County game?
No, I don't think. Do I think he should start in either? Probably not. Probably not. I don't know when is the appropriate time to give Xander Clark a chance.
I'd start Clark in Dingwall.
If we're even going to give him a chance, would you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Because I think that's a great... I was going back and forward on it. I was thinking, no, we should wait until we have that double header of Motherwell and Livingston at home. Because it's like, he's at home.
The first 2 weeks of November.
Yeah, so next, this coming week is out the way. Then we play them and I was thinking, that's at home, 2 games where it's like, you've got our fans behind you. But then, and it was my dad who made the point where he was like, Clark will probably want to start in Dingwall because it's a big game, must win. Have a real chance to go, I'm here, I'm a part of this club, I'm competition.
Well, then it'll be gagging to start on Thursday night as well then.
Yeah.
Given the reasons that we've just said, we want to get back to winning ways and ultimately try and build some momentum, in our remaining fixtures prior to the World Cup split. Feels so weird saying that.
I don't think Clark will play in either of those games. I think Gordon will play in it. And I don't have a massive problem with it because it's still Craig Gordon. Like, Craig Gordon's my favourite Hearts player of all time. So I'm never going to be like, oh no, Craig Gordon's starting. He's still our best keeper.
But what's inspired this? Just the Kelly error.
There's been 2 games now where he's cost us points in a row.
Kelly and Celtic,
yeah.
But Aberdeen wasn't really at fault for either goal, was it?
That's true. I can't even mind the Aberdeen goals now.
So
I wouldn't say that at fault.
The Bizawan one, he's got acres of space and countless time.
Yeah,
and the Dukes under him maybe should do better.
I think that's more just bad defending as well.
Yeah,
I think the positive of this though is that we have Xander Clark now.
We could get a wee Twitter poll out after this and see.
It'd be interesting.
When the podcast is released, maybe even upload it on Thursday before the game. Don't know.
We'll get so much abuse for people who see that without a context.
That's fine, but we want a bit of controversy sometimes. I mean, this game had barrel loads of controversy, so we're just carrying on the theme.
It's nice that you mention it because I'm going to say everything at once before I get your thoughts. I'm just going to go through the moments. Right, so we win another penalty. Ginnelly plays a great ball into the box that is won by Devlin. It's very much a penalty. Nick Walsh immediately goes, I've got that one, know what's happening. Inexplicably, that means Jens doesn't get a second yellow, and I don't really understand that. But
neither. The
penalty, we get it. Short VAR check, but no, it's definitely a penalty. You think it's a goal because it's Shankland for his hat-trick, but no, Joe Hart actually saves it. And then Shankland, in his own words, misses an absolute sitter from the rebound. But thankfully, Josh Ginnelly is there to mop up, and it's 3-3. Everybody's buzzing. Everybody's loving life. And then we get back to the centre circle. Nick Walsh has got the finger of the ear, and it turns out, now this was not told to us at the time. I assumed it was for I assumed that Joe Hart was off his line. Yeah, I thought that's what it was for.
I noticed watching the Hearts TV highlights back that Rob and Jimmy Sanderson said exactly the same thing.
Yeah, I assumed that's what it was. It has been, after I got home, I realised that it was encroachment on behalf of both teams. Both Celtic and Hearts players were encroaching.
Which is correct.
Yes, so that means that the penalty gets retaken, and this time Shankland does get his hat-trick. So the end result's the exact same. There's just been a whole bunch of patter amongst it. What was you, again, honestly, I was in the ground, so I was just
bless the cinch,
not knowing what's happening. From you who's getting all the replays, getting all the commentary, what was your perspective on all of this?
I was screaming the house down how Moritz Jens does not receive a second yellow card. That should have been.
I don't understand
as far as I'm concerned. No, neither do I. How you can give a pen but not give him his marching orders? I honestly thought I was missing something, but that's by the by. Where am I going with this? Celtic fans are quick to point the finger at the officials, VAR, all this other shit, but they're conveniently overlooking the fact that we would still have had half an hour to play. Could and arguably should have had the numerical advantage. Not saying that we'd have gone on to win the game, but our chances or the likelihood of doing so certainly increases. Dreadful refereeing yet again. I'll tell you why Lawrence Shankland missed though, because my dad was quick to give it the big one as soon as this was awarded. Oh, when was the last Hearts player to score a hat-trick against Celtic? Oh, it must have been Willie Gibson in the 4-3. I was like, no, had you wished? Just let him take it first and foremost. Honestly, I was genuinely, I was raging. Cursing the commentator. He always does it, no matter which game we're watching. It doesn't even have to be a Hearts game. I just know that he's going to say something and the exact polar opposite will happen. It happened. Thankfully, I thought Josh Ginnelly got the goal that his performance deserved. Then, of course, the encroachment correctly ruled out. And then, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the fact that I've got the mental strength of a 4-year-old child. But even then, like when this was initially awarded, I hate 2 penalties in the same game. I don't care what team it's for. I just think I would crumble. Do you go exactly the same as Shankland would, like sticking it down the middle? Does he try and psych out Joe Hart? Does he go the same way that the penalty that he's just saved has gone? Oh,
and that's what he did. He chose to stick the same side.
The thought of that, honestly, it terrifies me. But I don't know, maybe it's just our track record with penalties in recent seasons, or the fact that Paul Hartley left the club and we were struggling from the spot for ages. But Jesus, honestly, that was crazy. But I actually did have every faith in Lawrence Shankland to score my number 9.
Well,
does that answer your question? What did you even ask me?
It did. What was your view of everything? Right, just as you were saying that there, your number 9, I remember this stat from earlier today, but I didn't have it on me. That is now Lawrence Shankland played 18 games. This is all competitions. Lawrence Shankland has played 18 games for Hearts, scoring 9 and getting 2 assists. So 11 goal contributions in 18 games.
Not a bad return, is it?
Also, 4 bookings.
Really?
Yeah, he's got loads of bookings.
I don't think they could be anywhere near as high as that.
He's played 12 less games for us than he did for Beershot and has more than double the yellow cards and has played 30 less games than he did for Queen's Park, where he only got one booking ever. So don't know what's happening.
Aggressive in his old age.
Yeah, exactly. But then the final act of the game.
Oh, that's only we would.
Yep. Hatate picks up the ball in the centre of the park, and apparently Moses was there as well, because the entire of our team just parks completely down the middle. Plays a ball through Aaron Moy, who plays it to the substitute Abada, who is hitting it. He's just like, I'm going for that far left-hand side corner. Takes a deflection, and it ends up with Greg Taylor, the left back, rampaging at the back post to bundle it in, and Celtic end up winning 4-3. It was always going to happen, wasn't it?
Yeah, speaking of shitty goals to concede, this is the one that tops the lot. I mean, again, players in acres of space, time to pick passes. My biggest annoyance is the deflection and the fact that, again, Michael Smith is snoozing at the back stick. Such comical defending. It really is. And frustrating, because we've tossed away what could have been a pivotal point, or potentially all three. And it's really annoying, really annoying. What I will say is, as much as it was an annoyance, a frustration, that was genuinely a wonderful game of football.
It was excellent.
Really, really enjoyable. Both teams played their part. There was controversy. It had nearly everything that you could have asked for. A superb advert for Scottish football. But the officials for both teams were anything but. And I worry about the future of our officials, them using the VAR technology. It's proved that we'll reach correct decisions eventually, but what is also proved to me is that there's a total unnecessary waste of time, and that decisions that are looked at shouldn't be, and vice versa. So, God bless the Singe.
I think VAR was a massive aspect of that game being great. I saw some people on Twitter disagree. I very much loved it. I've always made it clear, like from Celtic's podcast, I am a fan
of
VAR.
Pro-VAR.
I am very much pro-VAR. And yeah, annoying result, not annoying performance overall. A lot of positives to take. And hopefully we take that into this double header against teams beginning with R. Because...
Oh, nice. I was going to say, sorry, mate. You know that VAR's weird when I find myself agreeing with Michael Stewart.
I know. I saw that.
So say no more. Carry on.
This Thursday, we have our second last European game in the Europa Conference League, our last game at home, as RFS, the Latvian champions, travel over to Gorgie.
Oh, we're not going to go through?
No.
Okay.
No, we're not. And then we travel up to the Highlands to play Ross County. How are you feeling about this double header? Would you prioritise one game over the other? Would you play a similar team? What would you prioritise?
County.
Okay. I had a feeling you'd say that.
So that's absolutely what we'll not do.
Yep. Well, because this is the thing.
We'll be brilliant at Tynecastle on Thursday, and we'll be absolutely shocking on Sunday. Guarantee it.
You were saying this there as a joke, like, will we not get through? Unbelievably, we could take it to the last day with a win here. If we win an Istanbul win against Fiorentina, we just need to get a point in Istanbul.
All they need to do is play the second string. They're already through.
Exactly.
Come on.
I seriously doubt it. But I agree. I would absolutely prioritise the Ross County game. Even though I'm going to the RFS game and I'm not going to the County game, I'd happily sit and see GMS. Oh, no, GMS is out. I'd happily sit and see you and Henderson running about on Thursday night if it means that we're fit and good to go.
And claim 3 points in the Highlands at a venue which we've been shocking at for ages against a team that look as good as down. So you just know that you're going to nick a 1-0 or a 2-1 win or some other shite like that. Oh, dear.
Right. Give me your score predictions for the two games.
We won 2-0 on Latvia. I could see a repeat of that, but I'll say 3-0. I'll say we'll score 3 at home again.
Bloody hell.
be confident. Although, oh no, saying that, we're playing a basketball team, so we're bound to concede a set piece.
Exactly. I'm going 2-1 us.
I'll go 3-1 then.
Right.
Yeah, 3-0 or 3-1. County will win 1-0. I'm saying this because I'm hoping that chances are, I don't think I've delivered one correct prediction on this podcast. I started off the season on fire with literally against Ross County. I called that bang on. The derby I called bang on. And then ever since I've been back for the pod, I've just been absolutely rotten. So I'll continue that trend and say that County will win 1-0. You're welcome for the 3 points, Jambos.
I'm going, fun enough, you mentioned the derby, I'm going 1-1. I just don't think we're going to win.
Do you think that's a good point?
I think it depends on what I think it depends on what happens in the Motherwell and Livingston games. If we beat both of them and then look back and go, oh well, we've got a point away at Dingwall.
Yeah, 7 out of the next 9 wouldn't be bad.
Yeah. Although please let it be 9.
Beg it's 9.
And then just before we go into the quiz, little aspect, because it's always good to speak about positive things. Finlay Pollock has signed a contract extension, keeping him in to the club till 2025. Obviously, he's still I think some Hearts fans kind of forget how young he is.
Yeah.
Like, there's an aspect
he can't buy a drink at the boozer yet, can he?
No, he's 17. And I see a lot of Hearts fans be like, why isn't he being bled into the team yet? Why isn't he being bled into the team? People are saying that Lewis Nielsen just now is too young to be fully getting into the team. And he's several years older.
A 2-year head start on him.
Yeah.
And that's never been Robbie's style anyway. It's notorious that that's been the case.
Yeah. But I'm really happy for him. I really look at him as a player. And
just hope we can find him a decent loan move.
Definitely.
Maybe something like a Bonnie de Gros wouldn't go amiss.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
Maybe do somebody. I don't know.
Stranraer.
Oh God. You've been down to Stranraer.
Yeah. I don't wish that on anybody.
No, certainly don't. That drive, Jesus. No.
Anyway, the quiz.
Yes.
End on the quiz. Right. I did this quiz 3 hours ago, forgetting that I had it.
It can't be as bad as the one that I made last week. That was shocking.
Well, we'll see. Well, so we've got a true or false, multiple choice, 2 normal questions, and the who am I. So, interesting. The first question is based on something you said earlier in this very podcast.
Nice.
Lawrence Shanklin scored a hat-trick against Celtic at the weekend, becoming just the 3rd Hearts player to do so. The second last was Willie Gibson. When did that game take place? 19... You don't need the day, but just you need the month and the year.
Oh, shit.
Because this stat has been everywhere on Hearts Twitter, so you should have seen it.
It was 1976, wasn't it?
I don't know. I need a month.
Oh, come on, mate. Just give me the year and then I can guess the month.
No, because then you've got 1 in 12.
Yeah, I've got 1 in 12 anyway if I'm that confident in the year.
It was 1976, correct.
Was it? Oh, bollocks. I was going to say September, but I don't think it is.
This has been everywhere. I've seen it.
No, I saw the year. I didn't give a shit about it. Oh, no. The month. Was it November 1976?
Is that your answer?
I'm going to go with it.
Correct. November 1976.
Come on.
Well, funnily enough, I've actually had to change that question because the full answer was going to be who was it and when.
Oh,
but I assumed you would know it because it was everywhere.
That's fault.
Yeah.
There you go.
But that was everywhere. Mark Donaldson was tweeting it and everything like that.
Belter. Absolute belter.
My dad said it immediately as the game finished as well. Because he was
I just
there.
love how the outcome is exactly the same. They just paint you this picture and Celtic come and piss on your parade.
So, true or false? And it's to do with VAR.
Oh.
So, true or false? The average time to do a VAR check over the weekend's Scottish games was shorter than the first season it was introduced in England. Now, obviously, England had a full season, so that affects it. Because I couldn't find I couldn't find the first weekend of English VAR use, but I could find the first season.
Right. Okay.
So not just our games, all 6 games. The average time it took to do a VAR check was shorter. True or false?
You know they piss about down there, don't they? I'm going to say that it was shorter. I'm going to go true.
It is false.
You bastard.
The average time it took... Now, obviously, that's helped because they had 38 games every week. That's 38 game weeks.
Some should just be.
Some will be instant, some will take ages. So the average time it took to do a VR check over this weekend was 100 seconds. And the average check it took in the first season in England was 84.
Really?
So it's not massively different, especially considering that's a season in England as well.
I did not think it was as little as that.
Yeah.
On both accounts.
Yeah.
Wow. Fair play. Good question.
Multiple choice now. Cammy Devlin had a man of the match performance at the weekend, completing a record amount of recoveries for one player in our side this season. But how many recoveries did he make? Now,
no idea.
To clarify, a recovery is when we have lost possession, he wins it back for us.
Right.
So you've got 4 options. Is it A, 8 times? Is it B, 11 times? Is it C, 13 times? Or is it D, 15 times?
8, 11, 13, or 15. I had 8 in my head, but I can't see it being as low as that. Surely, if it's...
I'll give you I'll tell you who was second. Keogh was second for us at the weekend with 5.
Would Cammy Devlin have recovered over twice as many as Keogh would? I would suspect yes, given 11, 13, and 15 are all viable options. I'll go unlucky for some, 13.
You are incorrect. It is B11. So you were right that it was more than double a Keogh.
That's annoying.
But yeah, an incredible amount. He was excellent.
That's very impressive. Still very impressive.
Final question before the Who Am I? This weekend, a Hearts player and an EFL top flight player were caught doing the same thing during a game. What was it? So a top flight English player, a top flight Scottish player in the form of Stephen Humphreys were caught doing the same thing.
Caught doing the same thing?
Yep. So for people who know what this is, people will be shouting at the screens and their phones. If you don't know what it is...
I feel like you would only give a shit about Tottenham Newcastle. And I watched that game.
As did I. I imagine I was more emotionally invested in it than you were.
Yes. Although I did get a good piece out of Miguel Angel.
You did. You did indeed. It was very well written. Go and read that.
Thank you very much. What did Stephen Humphreys and somebody else do? I've got no idea. No idea.
This is a really stupid question, by the way. So you're going to be annoyed when I tell you that.
This has been by far and away the worst question. Your others have actually been very good and very hard. This could be an absolute shocker of a quiz. Stephen Humphreys, what did he do at the weekend? I mean, limped off injured's far too easy. I'd imagine various other players did that.
One other player did the exact same thing as Stephen Humphreys.
I'll just say limped off injured because I'm technically right. It's just not in the game that you're thinking of.
Both Stephen Humphreys and Jamie Vardy necked a Red Bull during the game.
Oh my God! Humphreys
is slightly different. As he's walking out onto the pitch, he just absolutely tans a Red Bull. So he's doing it as he's about to warm up, and then, but yeah, Vardy did it during the game in the 75th minute.
Oh, Jamie Vardy, man, love or hate the guy, he's just box office.
Because I just saw it on Twitter, because obviously I was at the game, but then everybody was... Humphreys posted a tweet about the game, and all the replies were just about him drinking Red Bull. And that they had him down for a monster guy.
He does look like a monster, man. Yeah, that's stupid. I should have got that. I'm annoyed with that. I didn't watch Match of the Day. I just saw the clip of Hardy. And I literally saw the screenshot or whatever. Oh, dear.
So you've got 1 out of 4.
What a shocker.
But I think, again... some people might get annoyed at me for it. I think this is the easiest one I've done. And I apologise, but I was panicking and kind of just had to do stuff. So,
right, okay.
Who am I? I came through the Hearts Academy turning down Manchester United in the process.
Right.
One of my managers accused me of having a bad attitude as I received my one and only red card in my career under him. I exclusively played in Scotland during my career, but never played a senior game for my country. I scored a very famous Scottish Cup goal. On top of playing for Hearts for more than 50 occasions, I played against Hearts 9 times for 3 different teams, but only won twice.
Oh.
Who am I?
I'd initially thought of like Michael Stewart, with the way that you were starting that.
Interesting.
Don't fucking say that. Can you... No, exclusively played in Scotland. Come on. Think of it this logically. I can't ask for a set position because that's stupid. That should narrow it down. Well, can I? In saying that, I asked if somebody was a midfield player. I asked if Stephen Simmons was a midfield player, and that worked wonders for me.
You did indeed.
But can you read me the clues again, please, McCann?
Yes, of course I can. I came through the Hearts Academy, turning down Manchester United in the process. A former manager of mine accused me of having a bad attitude after I received my one and only red card in my career.
That's what put me off.
I exclusively played in Scotland during my career, but never played a senior game for my country. I scored a very famous Scottish Cup goal. On top of playing for Hearts for more than 50 occasions, I played against Hearts for 3 separate teams, winning only 2 of the games.
See, I can only think of there's no way that Michael Stewart's been sent off once in his professional career. Not a chance.
What are you trying to say about Michael Stewart?
I can only think of him playing for Hibs elsewhere in Scotland. Oh my God. Exclusively in Scotland, and he broke through the Hearts Academy. Is this player a defender?
He is not a defender.
Right. Okay.
1 question down, 1 more to go.
1 question down. Oh! Oh no. No, I thought... Oh no. Can you give me the clubs?
Yes. He played for... He came through at us and played for us.
Yep.
Then he played for Ross County, Livingston and Cowdenbeath.
Ross County, Livingston and Cowdenbeath.
In that order as well.
That was it?
Yep.
Jesus. Christ. I was thinking of like Jamie McDonald. Now I've got no idea. Ross County, Livingston and Cowdenbeath. I mean, what a horrible trio of clubs. Really? That's going to really annoy me. So this player must be a midfielder or centre forward. Ross County, Livingston, Cowdenbeath. Oh my God! Isn't it weird how these Who Am I's, your head just goes blank?
Oh yeah, you just can't think of a single person.
I don't have anybody in mind at all.
You literally can't think of a single person. Like, when it's me, I can't even think of like the current squad. I just like all names go to my head.
This is going to be a haunter. I can feel it. I can feel like I'm gonna kick myself. Who would have left Hearts to sign for Ross County, then Livingston, and then Cowdenbeath? Broke through the academy. Sent off once.
I'll double check that, but I'm pretty sure I got that right.
Who's it you're typing in?
Yes, only sent off once. You're not going to get me with that. I've been playing this game we've been doing this for like 2 months. It's Scrapis again. He's back.
He's just gonna haunt me alongside the ghosts of Ruben Palswell and David Whitby.
Yep.
Oh God Almighty! Cowdenbeath, who turned out for the Blue Brazil? That was Pish. Oh dear, that could be anybody. Livingston. Ross County, Livingston, and Cowdenbeath. I don't know why I keep repeating the names.
They're very few. They're very few. It's not like you've got 10 that you need to remember. No, I know.
But genuinely, my mind has gone blank. I've realised I need to start going for pre-pod naps and just feel revitalised. Maybe that's what will spark folk in my head. We record these too late at night. Oh God. I don't have a clue. I really don't.
You're going to need a name.
I know you are. Why did I ask if they were a defender? What a stupid question. I should have asked when they left Hearts. Who the hell goes to Ross County? In terms of Hearts players that have gone to Ross County, Connor Randall didn't break through at us. He was on loan from Liverpool. Ross Callahan, we signed from Wraith Rovers. Through our youth system. I've got like Gary Glenn or something in my head, but that can't be right. How many times did he play for Hearts? Did you say 50? You said that in the clues, did you not?
More than 50 appearances.
More than 50 appearances after breaking through the academy. See, somebody like Kevin McCarthy doesn't make any sense. Brad Mackay doesn't make any sense. Kevin McCarthy was saying from Dunfermline anyway.
Was he?
Don't try and throw me off of this pish, mate. And I've said no to defenders, so it's not Kevin McCarthy. Oh my God! This is so annoying. I'm having an absolute Reggie blinker.
Right, going in a name.
I know, I don't know. I don't know. You've well and truly stumped me. Am I going to kick myself for this?
Maybe.
Maybe. Thanks for clearing that up, mate.
That's another question.
No, I don't know. I've got no idea. Try to think of somebody when I was wee. Don't know. I'll go Gary Glenn because I had him in my head.
He's got it. It's Gary Glenn.
Actually?
Yeah. This is when you went, I'm just going to say Gary Glenn. I was like, how is it taking you this long to get to Gary Glenn?
God, thank God for that.
Do you understand why I said it's easy now? Like it's Gary Glenn. So I can explain the clues.
I don't remember him at Livy at all, though.
No.
I'm saying that because I've got a pal, Fraser Glenn, who now lives in Australia. And he was once on the books at Livy. So I'm assuming that he and Gary are long lost cousins. If they are cousins, don't know. So
came through the Hearts Academy by turning down a trial with Man U because he thought he wouldn't get any game time at Man United.
See, the trial at Man United thing, that fucking threw me off.
Shaba Laszlo.
Stewart was at Man United.
Shaba Laszlo said he had a bad attitude after he got his one red card.
And yet Shaba played Gary Glenn more than any Hearts manager, I'm assuming.
I don't know. It'll either be him or Jeffries. It'll either be him or Jeffries.
Maybe under JJ quite a bit.
I exclusively played in Scotland, but he never played for the national team. I scored a famous Scottish Cup goal against Hibs at Tyney in the 95th minute. And then, despite playing for us more than 50 times, he played us.
He played a couple against Hibs, did Gary Glenn?
I think he did, aye. He played against us 9 times, and he only won 2 of those games.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me.
So well done. You got Gary Glenn.
God, got it in the end.
I'll be interested to see how quick. I think most people will get that. So I'll be interested to see how quickly people got it.
I'm an embarrassment. I do apologise.
But you got it.
Got it in the end.
You got it. So
that's the only time I've been able to say that once before.
Yep. 5-2 now. You're making your way.
Come on. Well, wait, Stephen Simmons wasn't the last one that I guessed, was it? Oh no, it was Screffis. Oh yeah. God, how can I forget?
Exactly.
Yeah, Jesus. So it's been a month, and I've only just now doubled my tally.
Yeah,
that's consistency.
You're smashing it. By the end of the season, it'll be 35-10 to me if the current trend continues.
Oh God, I need to pull a solid one at the bag next
week. You do. Well, we hope you have enjoyed this week. Let us know if you got Gary Glenn, how quickly you did. We will be back next week to discuss RFS, Ross County, preview other games, the inevitable injury crisis that we'll have, but hopefully we just have more positivity to speak about. But if you have enjoyed this episode, where there has actually been quite a lot of positivity, please leave us a review on your podcast platform of choice. It massively helps us out. If you're watching us on YouTube, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It's much appreciated. If you want to get in contact with us, we're at Perth to Paisley on everything. We're also perthtopaisley@gmail.com. Adam, where can they get you on all the socials?
And get me on all the socials at Adam T. Kendall. You can find my tweets there about Xander Clark getting his chance once Craig Gordon's delayed to become injured. The fact that I should have said that on the podcast and subsequently didn't. And yeah, all the socials at Adam T. Kendall. What about yourself,
Don't say that. Don't put out into the universe that Craig Gordon's going to get hurt.
I tell you what, therefore... that could be a viral clip if he does. That'd be sensational. We could reach superstardom finally.
By Adam voodoo doll style jinxing Craig Gordon. Well, we'll see if Adam's magical as the week continues.
Halloween's coming up, that's all I'm saying.
Exactly. Well, let's hope he's alive the next time we speak about this. But until then, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Come on the Hearts!